Welcome back to Sports World with Patrik. On this episode of Sports World with Patrik, we're talking with someone who makes a real difference in the lives of young people through the power of sports. She's passionate about athletes, dedicated to education, and committed to building a strong community. Please welcome Delsie Sissoko, the athletic director of Skyline High School in Ann Arbor. Delsie, it's a pleasure to have you. And so I do have this question to start off the podcast with. What inspired you to pursue a career in athletic administrations, and what was your path to becoming the athletic director at Skyline?
Well, thank you, Patrik, for having me. So I have been in education for 20 years. I started off as a teacher, worked in coaching, school improvement coaching, and then became a principal and had the opportunity to move from an SLC principal here at Skyline into the athletic director position this year. I'm just hoping to finish my public education career strong and looking to make a difference, as you mentioned, with our student athletes.
And obviously, Ann Arbor in general, I've had the opportunity to go and visit the city itself, and it's very unique. I think it's probably the best downtown city that I've been to. Um, Obviously, Detroit's also got a very nice downtown, but obviously Ann Arbor is just such a nice place to go and just sort of be there with. But obviously, um, in Ann Arbor, there's the two high schools, Pioneer and Skyline. So, what is really the unique part of Skyline, and what are some of the school's traditions or strengths in athletics?
So in Ann Arbor, we actually have three high schools. We have Pioneer, Huron, and then Skyline. And Skyline was built back in 2008 to help with the numbers of overcrowding with Pioneer and Huron. So we're the newest high school in Ann Arbor. And our sports that we traditionally excel in is, crew and rowing, golf, tennis, swimming. We're working on building all of our sports here at Skyline, but we don't have the historical time as compared to Huron and Pioneer.
Then I also do have this question because obviously, you do get to work with a lot of student athletes across the board. And as you said, Skyline's one of the newer schools at the moment. What sort of excites you the most about working with high school athletes, and what do you find the most rewarding about your role as an athletic director at Skyline?
One of the best components of being an athletic director is the opportunity to see students excel in something that they're passionate about. It's like we believe that students that are engaged in the school and in the school community perform better academically. And obviously, academics comes first here at Skyline, and then athletics really enhances the students' experience here at the school. And it's a pleasure to see the kids go out and compete and do things that perhaps they didn't think they could do, and just really grow in a holistic approach as a human being.
And then obviously, as you mentioned, athletics is the number one thing that not athletics, sorry, academics is the first thing. Being an athlete is the second thing. And obviously, I know for students that is a very big thing. And I know, particularly in high school, when I was in high school, I know I had a lot of classmates who were athletes, and they were struggling at time. They were like, oh, I can't get this classwork done, but I also like have this game and all this stuff. Is there anything like unique that sort of happens for these student athletes there that they get help with? Whatever it's sort of having an extra class session, or not class session, but the extra time with teachers during the week in case they do have to travel somewhere pretty far to play, because I know that can be a very stressful part of a student athlete's life in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're touching on a piece of the student experience that is often maybe not quite as known. It's difficult to be a student athlete. You have to manage your time really well. You have to manage your homework, where you're going, your practice schedules. It's a lot. But our teachers, our staff here at Skyline do a wonderful job working with all of our students, athletes included. And same goes with our coaches. Our coaches are very aware and cognizant of the demands that are on our athletes. And a lot of our athletes are not just going to school and participating in a sport. They're involved in clubs. They're involved in, our music department. They're involved in a lot of things here at Skyline. So it is a difficult task. And I don't want to shortcome our families supporting the athletes as well, because that's very important. And our families do a lovely job of ensuring that our students are taken care of.
And obviously, I do sort of want to touch on this because obviously, with how rich Ann Arbor is in its traditions, I know with Michigan there's a lot of that pressure to perform very well, definitely at the football level and basketball and baseball level. Obviously, I know for Michigan, it's very easy to just go and see all the high schools there. Obviously, um, with as inclusive as of an environment as Ann Arbor is, um, and how great of a city it is in general. Um, how do you sort of help create, along with the coaches, a supportive and inclusive environment for all student athletes?
Absolutely. So one of our main focuses here at Skyline in general is our students' mental health and well-being. And that's very important. And we talk about it with the students. We talk about it. Our teachers are having conversations about that. Our counselors do a wonderful job as touch points for our students. The communication between families and teachers and our administrative staff is important to ensure our students' well-being is the most important thing here. And I feel like we have a lot of supports here at the school that help, a lot of student organizations, a lot of student run clubs, and like Sky Squad, for example, that ensure our students are well connected and have an outlet when needed. And this trickles into the after school component as well, where we see athletics with all of our coaches for every season, the importance of mental health and the importance of like making sure we're communicating with our students and our students feel comfortable communicating with us. So really it's providing that safe atmosphere and safe environment for all of our students and working to ensure that we're doing that. And there's room for improvement as always, but it is a top priority here at Skyline.
Um, and like you were mentioning, you guys do talk to the coaches and sort of make sure that they know, or make sure that the players know that they can come and talk to their coaches about stuff. And I know particularly it's in high school, it's hard, definitely with athletics, because everybody's trying to impress, the college. They want to play their sport further on, and they do have sometimes some of the parents get a little too involved in the game, or um, there's other student athletes who are there who are trying to better themselves but bring other people down. And so, you know, what are some of the things that, you guys do to address bullying or even any form of misconduct in the athletic program?
Well, we have an extensive like rights and responsibility that we follow that's in accordance with Ann Arbor Public Schools. So each case is obviously different, and each case has it's all case by case. So, but we do ensure that we follow up on those items both during the school day and after the school day. Our coaches do a lovely job facilitating between, relationships are really, really important. And it's important that our students and our student athletes have a trusted adult that they can go to. And hopefully, if a student's participating in a sport, that trusted adult is their coach or an assistant coach within the team should a problem arise. But it's really taking a team approach and ensuring our students are safe and know that their voices are heard, and their voices are very important here at Skyline.
And so I also, as you mentioned, it's very important not to, and there are policies that are set up to make sure bullying and other items are really out of the question towards for the student athletes. And I do want to ask this question about sort of, the parents. Obviously I know my brother, he used to be in the band, and I know he used to, have these fundraising boosters and all that stuff that they would do. You know, obviously parents are a very important part of the whole athletic department, definitely in the high school years. So what are sort of some of the things that parents do that or Skyline does to get the parents involved in the community with supporting Skyline athletics in general?
Yeah, so our parents in general for students in schooling are very, very important, right? We have what we call the SABC, which is our Student Athletic Booster Club. We have a PTSO. There's several ways that parents can get involved and help support their student, whether that be through athletics or, we have Friends of the Art. We have lots of ways that parents support and help out. Each team generally has, as you I'm sure are aware, our teams have parent clubs that help, with special nights, senior night, help generate a pink out or what have you. Our parents are an integral part to helping our athletic department and our athletic teams run smoothly and successfully. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity for parents to participate here.
And then obviously, I used to also have this question. Let's say at one point, there's a new sport that's being added, or even, a sport is departing from Skyline's athletic department. I know it's not always the easiest to get news about, the newest sport. I know I started my high school career, I was like, I'm never gonna play a sport, and then they gave bowling a year, and I was like, I'm one and done with that. But obviously, you know, like you said, parents are important, and a very important part of the high school experience. If let's say a game's gonna be rained out, or as I was mentioning the other items, but how do you guys communicate that with parents to let them know, hey, look, there's a new sport coming along, or this sport's going away, or sort of so that the parents can prepare for that ahead of time.
Yeah, communication at any high school is very complex and sophisticated. We send out a weekly, our whole school sends out a weekly, we call it our family message. Within our family message, there's a specific section for athletics that has, all of our athletic updates throughout the week. We have in school for our students, we have announcements, we have, there's emails, the coaches will email with teams and parents. So we have a website that you can go to get information. So there's a lot of pieces to that communication, and certainly can always be refined, right? But in addition to parents calling and seeking that, they'll send emails. I feel like we do a nice job of communicating with our families, and we do that every Friday. We send out a family message.
And then obviously, I do also have this question in a way, because obviously, along with players and parents, another very important part of athletics is having those coaches. And I know the last few times I've been in Ann Arbor, I know Ann Arbor tends to definitely after Jim Harbaugh and Michigan, Ann Arbor just has that feeling of having high quality coaches for all of their athletics. And I know it's hard to get some coaches to go to areas where it's cold during the winter, which is my favorite time of the year. But how do you guys recruit and retain some of the high quality coaches you guys do have at Skyline?
So you're very right. It's hard to get really really good passionate coaches, right? Because if they're coaching at a high school level, they're not making a ton of money. They're doing it because they truly love the sport and they truly love making a difference in students' lives. And those are the individuals we're looking for here to work with our students. And I think a piece of retaining and keeping those coaches is that relationship aspect, right? Like my relationship, the athletic director's relationship with the coach is just as important as the coach's relationship with the students as it is, our athletes. So it's really trying to be as supportive as possible and, ensuring that when it's time to coach, the coach is hopefully focusing on coaching and the athletic department tries to help with other aspects. And you will see, I think this is a pattern in a lot of high schools. The most highly attended or participated sports have a really good coach, right? Someone that cares, they're charismatic, they give feedback to the athletes regularly. Those are the programs you're going to see that are excelling at high schools.
And then obviously I do have this question, thinking about this just over the last few months, being in Ann Arbor, um, it's like I said, a very great city. I love it. Probably the only city that I've driven in during a full out whiteout and had the most fun with it. I literally was just like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ice skating, because I was over there in by Yoist and all them. And I love the whole scenery of Ann Arbor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it's a very nice city. People don't often get to visit it, but it's a great city. But obviously, there are some challenges that you guys do end up facing throughout the year. And some of those can be, funding, or a fundraiser doesn't go well, or you have to change a facility due to something, or students leave and they don't really there's not really enough players to play on one team. So what are some of the biggest challenges you guys face at Skyline?
So funding is like always a hot topic at any high school, right? Like, however, having a team and working with our central office and, making sure we're communicating and those lines of communications are clear is very important. Fortunately for Skyline, because we are the newest high school, our facilities are pretty nice, and we work really hard every day to maintain them and ensure that, in the long run they're going to continue to be nice. So we're fortunate in that area. We'll see in 10 or 15 years what my answer would be to that question, but right now our facilities they're top notch. So yeah, I guess just making sure we have that holistic and team approach to funding. We work strongly with our athletic boosters club, again, like I said, with the district, and fundraising is an important aspect of any sport, and our families and our teams do a lovely job ensuring that our kids do not, like they have everything they need to play the sport. So it's a tricky question. There's no easy answer, but it's really just about working together and communicating and making sure the kids have what they need.
And obviously, you did touch on this earlier in the podcast, but I do also have this question sort of for you, because it obviously, a lot of people a lot of people leave their impact on the athletic program itself. And I know there's been some athletic directors that have had a very impactful position, in general. If you do have one, what would you say is your overall vision for the short term and long term goal at Skyline with the athletic programs there?
That's a great question. Yeah. So being an athlete myself in high school, I played, every season, fall, spring, winter, played at the collegiate level. And I think the big vision of our athletic program is just ensuring that our students find a spot where they feel welcomed and they feel, like they want to be here competing, whatever sport that may be, or even if it's a club. We want to provide that after school opportunity for our kids to continue to grow and advance those leadership skills, because those are very important skills. Working on a team, it's not necessarily just the starting five or the starters for the football or the best swimmer. Like, playing and being on a team, there's a lot of dynamics out there, and it helps you grow and prepare to work in the world here. So I think, like, big picture, we want our students to be holistic and be the best that they can be here. In the short term, if you think about like our impact, I also hope through my time here, our students understand the importance of their voice and the importance of advocating for themselves and creating the program that they vision is possible here at Skyline, because it really takes a team approach. I can't manage 34 sports entirely by myself, right? Like, we need all of the coaches on board, we need our students on board, and really working together to ensure we have the best environment for our kids to go out and participate and have fun. That's very important, that they're enjoying what they're doing, because they put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. So really just creating that space for kids to to learn and grow and be themselves.
And obviously, I know most people, they measure a team's success based on wins and losses. But, that's not always the case. That's not always how you have to measure how good a team is doing or even how good an athletic department is doing. How do you measure the success of the athletic program beyond just the wins and losses?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So, I mean, obviously, I think for the most part, students are joining a team to compete and to win, right? But because you lose doesn't mean that you're not necessarily winning in some aspect of your development, right? Like, so we encourage our coaches to look for the little wins within each day and making sure that is communicated to our athletes so they understand it's not just about the score at the end of the game. I mean, ultimately, yeah, we want to compete, we want to win, we want to win district, regional, state titles, but you have to start somewhere. And it's really, getting each athlete to be their best. And those are the wins along the way that are priceless, right? You can't tell that in the final of the football score or the final of a basketball game score or baseball for that matter. It's the individual growth that each student makes throughout the season that is the real wins.
Yeah, that like I know this sounds a little awkward, but I've obviously with I know people want to measure success based on wins and losses, but it's not always just about the wins and losses. It's the impact that that particular coach, athletic director, or even a season really has on somebody. From when I was playing bowling in high school, we always, we played like 4 or 5 schools a day, and so if we played or not a day, but in a match, if we were playing, it was, we might not win every single one of those games, but as long as we're having fun, that's the most fun we're gonna have. So I'm gonna ask you here a few fun questions. What is your favorite memory, sports memory, either as an athlete or as a fan?
So I have two actually. In college, my college team, I played for Finlandia University, and it was a small college, but we traveled out to Maine and played basketball, and we actually won the national championship. And after the game, our whole team went out to the ocean and jumped in, and we've got like these team pictures together. So that memory really sticks with me because that's a hard. Not everyone can say that they've been able to accomplish that. So that's great. And then leading on to that, a couple of years ago, I was in Chicago and was there for a professional development for school, actually, and was able to attend the Big Ten tournament. And it was my first time really seeing several colleges compete and the environment was great. Like, I really hope as I continue to grow and like that, it was just so much fun. So I'd love to have more experiences like that. And college sports is just what I enjoy spending a lot of time watching and keeping up on. So those are two memories I have that are very cool.
And then, what advice would you give to young people considering an athletic career or a career in the athletic administration?
So I guess advice that I've been giving frequently, number one, is like we can do hard things, right? Being an athlete, being an athletic director, being whatever it is that you're choosing to do, things are hard. It's hard, but you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to go out there and you have to, put your best foot forward. And I think especially for women in sports and young girls in sports, really sending the message that we do hard things every day and you can continue to do those hard things and like excel in athletes, excel in the classroom, excel being a mom, excel being a wife, a sister, whatever the case may be. Like, we do it every day, and we need to continue to do that and encourage each other.
And then, what is one thing people might be surprised to learn about you?
Well, I would say so. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I'm from Negaunee, Michigan, actually, and I have a very strong Finnish heritage. So one thing that is kind of when I talk to people, I love to take a sauna. And I know I'm saying it differently than most of you would say the word sauna, but that's how we pronounce it. And yeah, so I enjoy those like heritage pieces of my upbringing.
Yeah, ever since I've been to Michigan, so normally when I'm in Michigan, or I'm in Michigan in general, I tend to stay on the east side of the Lower Peninsula.
Okay.
And like I've started to gain like a Michigan accent every so often when I go up there, which is like there's like certain things that I'll say and they're like, that's not how you say it. I'm like, yes, this is how you say it, you know. Being in Michigan, obviously, that's the one thing I will say is it was actually last year I went to the event that they have with Michigan and Michigan State, the
Mm-hmm.
duel and the D.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was, I don't know what it is, but like that one day the only thing I can remember is this one guy, just random guy sat right next to me, came in late to the game, and I mean, he made that game 100 times better just because, I didn't know who he was, but he was just so friendly going out there. I was like, man, this is what Michigan is all about. So
Yep, Michigan's
obviously,
a great state, yep,
yeah,
and sports brings just people together and celebrating, and it's fun.
yeah, oh yeah. Definitely when like Michigan versus Michigan State. So who is your favorite? Is it go blue or go green?
So, here's the second thing that probably would be most surprising, and I blame it on where I grew up in the Upper Peninsula. I may the best team win. Like, I love University of Michigan, and I love Michigan State, and I feel like because I was so far remote from either team, like in the UP. When they played, I was cheering for Michigan State. When Michigan played, I was cheering for Michigan. That's the best thing about athletics and competing is you never know on any given day, any team can pull out a victory. So I say may the best team win.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Delsie, thank you for joining me today on the episode. It's obviously such a uh, great thing to look into um the the athletics of high school sports and definitely at Skyline. I'll definitely be following along with sort of the progress as I do with all of the guests that I do have on the podcast. Their athletic departments. Um, I'm waiting to hear all the exciting new stuff going on in Ann Arbor here soon. So thanks again for joining today.
Yep. Thank you, Patrik.